Today on CJ's Knits, we're going to knit a very complex looking lined slipper. You will need 2 yarns of contrasting colors. You will also need a 2x2 ferrule pattern. I used number 30. I believe it's 30. Yeah. Number 30 from Stitch World. And I have buttons 3 and 4 depressed to make it 2x2. I am going to use that ferrule pattern because it makes the most cushion with the least amount of floats. But the reality is you can use any ferrule pattern you choose. I'm going to make the assumption that this is a great project for using up sock yarn because they don't have to match, you just need warm feet in the winter. My pattern calls for 42 left, 42 right with a crochet cast on. I'm going to show you how to do the crochet cast on. You start with a loop. On your latch tool. You just pull it around. This is one of the tightest cast-ons that give you a very, very nice edge. And it's important to use this cast on because we're going to rotate our project because it has 3 layers. I'm going to continue doing this crochet cast on all the way to 42 right, and then we will set up to get knitting. Okay, we're almost done here. Okay, this last loop, I pull it long, under, and on. All right. The second instruction on my pattern says to mark 0. So we will mark 0. Through, around, and that is 0. That is now marked. We will push these all back. Reset your row counter to 0, 0, 0 if you haven't already done so. Moving my carriage back to the right side. Okay, my instructions say tension 5, so I'm on tension 5. Load, knit 1 row, and then engage the pattern. Well, what you should do is put it into KC1 or MC1 depending on your machine. And now you knit across your 1 row so that it kicks out your pattern. Introduce your second yarn and press your ferrule button or your MC button. My pattern says to knit 31 rows. Well, this one is for a bulky. So to make this pattern for a standard, you want to knit 62 rows. So we will knit 62 rows and then we will mark the edges. Here we go. As you can see, I haven't put any weight on this yet. I'm not going to put on any claw weights for 3 whole rows. So that's 2, 3. If you are starting to panic before you get to 3 rows, you can always leave your weaving knobs down, and that will totally secure your piece of mind and have it work. So I'm going to start knitting my 62 rows. I'm going to pause this and change my camera direction. All right. We'll come back. Okay. 60, 61. Now we're going to mark the edges, contrast yarn, marked, now mark it. Contrast. Right. Mark. There. All right. We will now continue to row 120. I am making a fairly large slipper. And I'll come back when that's done. Okay, 17, 18, 19. Now at this point I'm going to change camera angles again, and then we're going to do some really magical stuff. Okay, part 2. We will now disengage our machine, remove yarn number 2. We will now switch back to N. Still on tension 5, we're going to knit 1 row. All right, move up my claw weights. This is the magic part of using a standard over a bulky. I'm now going to move every second stitch up just a little bit. I'm not going to worry about these last 2 stitches. They don't matter to me. I'm now going to grab the magic tool that makes every standard amazing, and that is your lace transfer carriage. Mine is, of course, stuck. Which happens. All right. Lace transfer tool engaged. The other one is moved over. It's on your board. You're now going to knit across 1 row. And what you see is your lace transfer tool has now transferred every second stitch for you. You didn't have to do it manually. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. All of those stitches are transferred. Now you don't got to worry about them. You're now going to lower your tension to 3, and you're going to knit 2 rows. 1, 2. We'll now be removing this panel. You want to leave yourself a generous yarn tail. And you're going to put all of these stitches onto that yarn tail. I use a double eye needle, but you can always use your single prong transfer tool, and then you got to fish the yarn through. Watch to make sure that your yarn doesn't get too staticky. It's pretty dry here today, so I've got to work with what I got. I'm going to pause this and then come back when I'm a little bit further along. Last couple stitches. Okay, this is the last one. Pops right off. I'm not releasing this until I have removed all of my weights. Okay. Pulling that through. Now your inclination is to pull hard and tighten this up, but you don't actually want to. You want to leave this fairly loose because you'll be handling it last. Get rid of all of your clips. Go back to that original crochet cast on, and now we're going to hang it back on the stitches. So we're going to bring 42 stitches back out. And I'm going to move you in closer. So the whole reason for the crochet cast on is because of the rotation. And we're going to rotate this. Now it's really hard for me to put into words what you need to do. So I'm going to try my best just to show you. We have that first stitch, okay, right here, okay. this stitch right here. And we put that first stitch on. Okay, so you're basically laying that panel on your finger, and you're just trying to grab just the edge of that loop, not 2 stitches, just the end loop. And if you grabbed it right, when you get to 0, your 0 mark will be exactly where it was the first time. Go slow, and you'll get it right every time. I'm going to come back when I am further along. Okay, I'm trying to make it so that you guys can actually see what I'm doing. But I grab that stitch that is laying upward. I'm coming through the center of that stitch. You can see where that yarn tail is. You want to move it to the back. Oh, sorry. No, I meant yarn marker, but I keep calling it a yarn tail. Okay, so that's there. You can see that 0 and that this is perfectly centered. Make sense? Anyway, I'm going to finish this, getting this back on the machine, and then we'll come back. Okay, so they're all on there. Bringing everything forward. My 0 mark is at the back. I have 42 and 42. Claw weight on the end. Claw weight on the end. I'm now going to 4.1 as my tension. I'm grabbing my favorite main color of the day, which is grape. I'm leaving myself a generous yarn tail. Putting a clip on it. And I'm going to knit across after resetting my row counter to 0, 0, 0. Okay. I'm now going to knit 62 rows. In purple. There is no patterning on the liner. I'll come back when I'm at 62. Here we are coming up to 62. This is 60, 61, 62. Marking my yarn tail. Marking my ends with this yarn tail I have. Cutting it in half. Marked. Marked. Okay, I'm going to knit to row 120 and then I will come back. All right, so that's 16, 17, 18, 19. Move that over. Bring these out. Same as before. Bringing out my lace carriage. clicking it in, making sure that we're actually in properly. We're not. Hang on. Nope. We're not quite there yet. Wow, that was a gong show. Okay, so now our lace carriage is in the right spot, and we're going to knit across. Well, we're going to transfer across. Here we go. Nope, we're not in. Hang on. My lace carriage has decided not to engage properly. There we go. Now, I have broken a needle. I have to stop what I'm doing and come back. Okay, second attempt. Not quite sure what was going on there, but here we go. Every now and then, you just don't have much luck. This time, I saved myself. So, every second stitch got transferred. I'm just going to do a quick mark here before we continue. I will swap out that needle just for safety. Okay. Bring these all forward if I want to. Tension 3. Knit 2 rows. Generous yarn tail and remove again on double-eyed transfer tool or on your single prong transfer tool. Your choice. Here we go. Some people take all the weight off. I find it actually helps to leave the weight on for a little while. Kind of stops the yarn from popping off. You can see how I stopped the latch from closing with my thumb as I pulled the needle back to the loop or hook. This one is done. Okay. So what do we have? We have the outside panel, our 0 mark, and our inner liner. I'm going to back this up a bit. Okay, so you have your liner, and now we're going to do the heel. You can see with that crochet cast on that there's an edge, like a ledge. That is why we use the crochet cast on, because it gives us 3 sides. We have the first side, which we did the 2x2. The second one we did the liner, and now we're going to work on the heel.